one of the problems is that the sections are, on this piece, are created at the point where the line meets the intersection. So this intersecting point, this overlap, becomes a problem in the sense that at the moment the intersection belongs to is attached to the line the part of the line severed from the beginning by the overlap of its future. So this, you're coming along here, that should actually be linked to this bit as it is here. So if we're going along the line, this is linked. At this point, actually, because of the way we cut it, it's been cut at this point, severed from its future. And in the same way, at this point here, which is linked, here it has been severed. So this B, point B, is severed from its past. These sections are no longer connected. So in this way, what I think is interesting is that the points, or the critique of the GPS points that I'm making, is also what has happened through cutting the line in its way. With this one, where I extracted the line without taking into consideration that the cut should follow the gesture of the drawn line, but the cut should just release the line from the page, it is all connected. There is one form. What's interesting is in both practices, the oval shape is kept. The shape formed by the looping line is maintained, but in this one the line is not maintained, and in this one there is a line. However, how the line overlaps is not the case. Now, I just doing this, I'm now thinking how surely I can maintain that part of the line. So I'm just going to have one more go. I'm going to cut according to the direction of the line. And what strikes me here is actually that even if I follow, as it were, the edge of the line in the sequence that it was drawn, I'm not actually following the gesture, because the line would have been drawn like that, and I'm turning the paper and turning the cut so that the cutting is actually happening on the same, or closer to the same point, in relation to that I could just have the blade into the cutting board and just move the paper in relation to the blade. This makes me think of Bergson's cone, talking of the tip of the cone is inscribing, as it were, acting into the present space. And I'm seeing that the tip of the cone, if the point of the needle is the tip of the cone, what is being inscribed into the connection with this space is the memory of the line being cut out. I can keep this here. This is all memory. All this part is all memory. So these memories at this point, you could say, are being cut. The edge point of that memory is being cut. What I'm doing here is it's a process of understanding a relationship of time, space, description, representation. And what's happening when I come to this intersection of two moments in time. One is the point where the flow from A crosses over, and later on is the point where the flow from A is beginning to come to its end, so we'll call it its passing. So that's another point, and I'm having to make a decision on this cut. Because if I continue along this cut, I will sever the line, I will sever the shape from its origins A, from the memory, in order to be able to cut towards its future path, to go to where I need to go to. It seems that I need to cut if I am going to honor the path, the past. So what I have an option here is actually to not do that. And when I come to the point of intersection where I have already been at this point, in the past I've been at this point, is to leave that past point, to not cut the present point that leads to the future, to enable the past to exist because it does exist at this point, leave it there and cross over this section to cutting the next line of B. So now it's still intact. I'm going to go through the same process going back to A, because this is what's interesting about taking the line. I actually have to take two lines, both edges of the line. Well, I have to cut it. I have to cut both edges of the line to release this line from its path. So here I come to the point again that I'm going to decide, or am I going to decide to honor the path? I am, because that's what I'm doing. Or do I leave and jump over, let the fact that the future is going to pass here, and jump over it? In a way, that's what I've done here, is I've let the past and the future coexist by not cutting the edge, by not cutting either out. So that is you could say that that point now in the intersection is the duration of both past and future existing on this point. If I roll, yeah. So this is what I'm doing at the moment, is it's a sort of an analysis through practice of the act of taking the line. take this line. Have I taken this line now? In this one? I suppose I have taken this line in that one. I've taken this line by allowing the past and the future to coexist. And if they do, there is actually no line I can cut. If I cut either the line of the past, the gesture of the past, or the gesture of the future that is now past, they cannot coexist. But they can if I just leave them be. So this to me is like, how do you allow, because this is the whole problem of collaboration and participation, is how do you allow two different experiences of the same point to coexist? And it seems to be that an answer in this practice here is you can't define the edge through a cut, or even a line, because if you drew the line of the past here on either side or there, you would actually exclude the other. You'd break it. They have to merge. I'm just going to, for the sake of it, just go on with this one and say I'm actually going to continue first with the past line to cut. So by doing that, I've now cut across the future line. And I'm sort of seeing that maybe I need to print out another one of these. So I'm suddenly thinking, what happens? You see how I'm turning this there? It's actually like the blade is not really, well, it actually does need to move. If it was really sharp, I could pull the paper through it. Right, and what's happened now is I've released this. So now I've released the line all the way, and it sort of stays intact, but leaving actually the future is severed from. It's severed from the point beyond where it engages with its past. In this one, the past has engaged with the point of the future. The future has not engaged with its past. Okay. So this is something I'm writing up, and I just thought I'd actually try it out. The next stage is to actually what Tim Ingold invites us to do is to cut it up into short segments of roughly equal length. Now imagine that every segment could be wound up like a thread and packed into the confines of a spot located around the middle point of the original segment. The result will be a scattering of dots. That's really part two, because the result is a scattering of dots, but again, Tim Ingold has scattered a dot at the midsection, which actually you'd have to decide whether that dot was the dot of the past or the future. So, for example, you might roll this up. Yeah, we need to, I need to do it over the line. Okay.